you, baby. I love to love you, baby.
She said Lola, Lola. The 70s was a decade of bold defiance and unforgettable grooves. From the flower power of the late 60s to the gritty, rebellious punk rock wave, music was more than just entertainment. It was a movement. Yet for every anthem that lit up the airwaves, there were tracks deemed too hot to handle. Songs that ruffled feathers, challenged the status quo, or simply broke all the rules. What happens when music becomes too provocative, too controversial, or too subversive for the powers that be? Join us in this video as we take a trip back to the 15 most controversial banned songs of the 1970s. 1. Jailhouse Rock, 1970s reissue by Elvis Presley. While Elvis Presley's Jailhouse Rock was first released in 1957, its 1970s reissue in South Africa caused a fresh wave of controversy. Under the apartheid regime, the government banned a wide range of music it deemed provocative or inappropriate, and Jailhouse Rock found itself on that list. Authorities claimed the song's lyrics glorified criminality, but the real issue lay in its association with rebellion and the rock and roll lifestyle. In a society tightly controlled by censorship, even a decades-old song could be seen as a threat. Despite the ban, the reissue found an audience through underground channels, where it became a symbol of defiance. Elvis's image as a cultural icon of freedom resonated deeply, making Jailhouse Rock more relevant than ever. The controversy surrounding its ban only added to the song's mystique, reminding listeners of rock and roll's enduring power to challenge authority. 2. The Pill by Loretta Lynn. In 1975, country music legend Loretta Lynn released The Pill, a groundbreaking song about birth control and women's reproductive freedom. For many, it was a revelation, a bold declaration of female autonomy at a time when such topics were still taboo. But for others, it was a scandal. The backlash was swift and fierce. Many country radio stations banned the song, accusing Lynn of promoting promiscuity. Conservative groups condemned her for bringing immoral topics into the public eye. Even within the male-dominated country music industry, Lynn faced resistance, but the song's impact was undeniable. Women across the U.S. saw themselves in its lyrics, which celebrated the newfound freedom birth control provided. Lynn's matter-of-fact delivery made the song even more powerful, framing it not as a provocation but as an honest reflection of changing times. 3. My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry. In 1972, rock and roll pioneer Chuck Berry scored his first and only #1 hit with My Ding-a-Ling. The novelty song, filled with playful double entendres, was an immediate hit with audiences but a headache for radio stations and censors. Critics called the lyrics juvenile and inappropriate, accusing Berry of smuggling sexual innuendos into an otherwise innocent tune. Conservative groups lobbied to have the song banned from airplay, and some stations complied. Yet the controversy only made My Ding-a-Ling more popular. Audiences were divided. Some laughed at its cheeky humor, while others found its suggestive content scandalous. Berry, for his part, leaned into the controversy, performing the song with gusto at live shows. My Ding-a-Ling remains a polarizing track in Berry's catalog. Some view it as a playful detour, others see it as a blemish on an otherwise groundbreaking career. Either way, it's a testament to Berry's knack for stirring the pot and keeping audiences talking. 4. Street Fighting Man by the Rolling Stones. In the politically charged atmosphere of the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Rolling Stones' Street Fighting Man became an anthem for music rebellion. With its fire-starting lyrics, "What can a poor boy do except to sing for a rock and roll band?" the song captured the frustration of a generation fed up with social injustice and political oppression. The track was banned by numerous U.S. radio stations, particularly in the wake of the 1968 Democratic National Convention, which saw violent clashes between protesters and police. Authorities feared the song would incite further unrest, labeling it dangerous and subversive. Despite, or perhaps because of, this censorship, Street Fighting Man became a rallying cry for activists. Its raw energy and defiant message resonated with young people worldwide, solidifying its place as one of the Rolling Stones' most powerful songs. 5. You're 16 by Ringo Starr. At first glance, Ringo Starr's 1973 hit You're 16 seems like a harmless pop tune about young love. but upon closer inspection, its lyrics raised eyebrows. Critics accused the song of romanticizing relationships with underage individuals, a subject that sparked outrage even in the freewheeling 1970s. Though Starr's version was a cover of a 1960 hit originally by Johnny Burnett, it faced harsher scrutiny in the more socially aware climate of the 70s. Some radio stations refused to play it, and debates raged about whether it was appropriate for a grown man to sing such lyrics. Despite the backlash, the song was a commercial success, climbing to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Starr's playful delivery and the nostalgic melody struck a chord with listeners, even as critics dissected its problematic themes. Today, Your 16 remains a polarizing track, a reminder of how cultural norms evolve and how songs can take on new meanings over time. 6. Money by Pink Floyd. Money, from Pink Floyd's 1973 album The Dark Side of the Moon, is a scathing critique of greed and capitalism, wrapped in one of the most recognizable bass lines in rock history. With lyrics like, "Money, it's a crime," the song resonated deeply in a decade marked by economic uncertainty and social unrest. However, its sharp message didn't sit well with everyone. Money faced bans in South Africa under the apartheid regime, where the government censored media critiquing inequality or capitalist excess. Some conservative groups in the US also pushed back, accusing the song of promoting anti-American values. Despite this, Money became one of Pink Floyd's most enduring hits. Its groundbreaking use of sound effects, cash registers, and coins clinking helped redefine what rock music could be. The track's unique time signature and biting lyrics made it both a commercial and critical success. Over the years, Money has been embraced not just as a classic rock staple, but as a timeless critique of society's obsession with wealth. Its bans only added to its mystique, proving that censorship often amplifies a song's power. 7. War by Edwin Starr. War? Huh? Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Edwin Starr's riveting protest anthem, released in 1970, pulled no punches. Written during the height of the Vietnam War, the song was a searing critique of conflict and its devastating consequences. Its blunt, powerful message made it an instant hit with anti-war protesters, but it also drew the ire of pro-war groups and conservative broadcasters. In some parts of the US, radio stations refused to play it, accusing Starr of undermining the country's efforts abroad. But the bands couldn't silence war. Its driving beat, electrifying vocals, and unflinching lyrics struck a nerve, turning it into one of the most iconic protest songs of all time. Starr's impassioned delivery gave the track an urgency that resonated far beyond the Vietnam era, cementing its status as a timeless anti-war anthem. War is indeed an enemy to all mankind. 8. Imagine by John Lennon. Few songs have sparked as much debate or as much reverence as John Lennon's Imagine, released in 1971. The track invites listeners to envision a world without barriers, no countries, no possessions, and, most provocatively, no religion. To millions, it was a beautiful dream of unity and peace. But to others, it was heresy. Religious groups in particular fumed at Lennon's suggestion to imagine there's no heaven. Across the United States and in apartheid South Africa, conservative broadcasters banned the song outright, calling it provocative and anti-religious. For governments wary of growing counterculture movements, the song's anti-establishment ethos was equally troubling. Yet Lennon stood by his vision. In interviews, he described Imagine as virtually the Communist Manifesto, wrapped in a palatable melody. He knew the song was provocative, and that was the point. Its soft piano and gentle delivery made its radical ideas more accessible, sneaking a revolutionary message into living rooms worldwide. Despite the backlash, Imagine grew into a global anthem, performed at peace rallies and state events alike. It transcended its original context, becoming a universal plea for harmony. Ironically, the very groups that tried to suppress it only amplified its power. Today, it remains one of the most performed and discussed songs of all time. Its opening piano notes are instantly recognizable. Imagine all the people. 9. Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed, released in 1972. Walk on the Wild Side is one of Lou Reed's most iconic and most controversial songs. The track, a tribute to the eccentric characters of Andy Warhol's Factory, was groundbreaking for its candid references to LGBTQ+ identities, drug use, and alternative lifestyles at a time when mainstream culture shied away from such topics. Reed dove in headfirst, creating a song as daring as it was catchy. The song was a hit, but not without pushback. Some US radio stations refused to play it, citing its explicit lyrics. The BBC initially banned it as well, uncomfortable with lines like "shaved her legs and then he was a she," which alluded to a gender transition prohibition, a taboo subject in the 1970s. Despite the controversy, Walk on the Wild Side resonated with audiences who saw themselves in its characters, from Holly, who came from Miami, FLA, to Candy, who never lost her head. The song celebrated outcasts and misfits with a tenderness rarely seen in popular music. Walk on the Wild Side's lasting impact is undeniable. While censors tried to silence its message, it became an anthem for individuality and acceptance, a tribute to those living boldly on society's fringes. Reed's smooth delivery and iconic bass line ensured its place in rock history, controversy, and all. 10. God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols. Few songs have caused as much uproar as God Save the Queen, the 1977 punk rock anthem that skewered Britain's monarchy. Released during Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, it wasn't just controversial, it was explosive. With lyrics like "God Save the Queen, she ain't no human being," the Sex Pistols didn't just challenge authority, they declared war on it. The establishment wasted no time retaliating. The BBC banned the song outright, and major record retailers refused to stock it. Some radio stations went so far as to scratch the record if DJs tried to play it. Despite, or perhaps because of, this censorship, the song still climbed to number 2 on the UK singles chart, though rumors persist that it was deliberately kept from the top spot. The controversy didn't stop there. The band faced physical threats, and their boat performance of the song on the Thames River during the Jubilee sparked chaos. Yet for many, God Save the Queen became the ultimate symbol of rebellion. Some dismissed it as vulgar and unpatriotic, while others saw it as a necessary wake-up call for a society in turmoil. Decades later, it remains a punk rock classic. Do you remember grooving to any of these classics? Let us know down in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesome videos just like this one. See you next time!